Well, that was certainly a show. On a night when Enzo Amore unleashed a rap song so bad it made Lil Yachty look like Biggie, WWE followed up with an episode of Raw that was about as memorable as the wee Guido Dafty's feud with Big Cass. In many ways, it was a typically lazy, holiday-themed episode. Memorial Day tropes were all over the place, which is great. It's just a shame that WWE tend to mail things in whenever they have a theme like this. That being said, the show wasn't without its highlights. That B-Team barbecue segment was the most unintentionally hilarious thing WWE will do all year. Seth Rollins once again proved that he's incapable of having a bad match in 2018, and Kevin Owens' mic work was fantastic. Because of course it was. Unfortunately, almost everything else from the Second Chance Gauntlet to the women's title feud was just kinda mediocre, but there were still plenty of Easter eggs and snafus along the way, so let's dive into them. With that in mind, I'm Andy for What Culture Wrestling, and here are the things you may have missed from last night's WWE Raw. Your friend and mine, Seth Rollins, continued his 2018 excellence last night by doing something that only AJ Styles has been able to do in recent months, and that is drag an acceptable match out of Jinder Mahal. But it was the afters that provided the real talking point, with Elias appearing out of nowhere, then skadooshing Rollins with his guitar, sending him flying off the stage. When they came back from a brief break, there were a bunch of people helping Rollins onto a stretcher, and among them were Jamie Noble and Adam Pearce. Noble was, of course, one of Rollins' goons in J&J Security a couple of years ago, but more interestingly, Pearce was actually Ring of Honor's head booker at the time when Rollins was the company's top champion. WWE may not have done this intentionally, but regardless, it's a nice little nod to his past. Okay, let's dive into this B-Team barbecue. It might be the most unintentionally hilarious thing WWE have booked in years, and while it was probably objectively terrible, I have to admit, I was laughing my big bald head off all the way through. And guess what? So was Michael Cole, who for the second consecutive week was corpsing in a segment. Cole couldn't contain himself with Bobby Lashley's sisters last week, and it was the same again last night, as his giggles punctuated the early minutes of the segment. We won't shit on him too hard though. Honestly, it's just nice to know he's still human. The barbecue inevitably descended into a food fight, but while the sight of Rhino hoarding a massive platter of bologna sandwiches was cracking, how about your man Fandango casually munching his way through a massive pile of sausages? Just sausages. No buns, no condiments, nothing. Pure fats and protein. The big man's obviously on that low-carb paleo keto kick these days, and who can blame him? All carbs are bastards. Delicious bastards, but still bastards. Now, one thing that the barbecue did highlight was the shallowness of the Raw tag division, because you can make an argument that every single duo within the barbecue was a jobber team. Sorry, Dash and Dawson. Again, like last week, it begs the question, where the hell are the Authors of Pain? Wouldn't this have been the perfect moment for the big lads to come down the back, cut through the goofiness, and just wreck everything? I guess not. Signs. Signs are cool. You love signs, I love signs. And while there wasn't anything as fun as last week's Get These Hams, this week there was a nice little tribute to Bruce Pritchard going on in one section of the crowd. One sign simply said, "I'm a Bruce Pritchard guy," while the other was a massive blown up version of Conrad Thompson's head, and he, of course, is the co-host of the Something to Wrestle podcast, which recently came to the WWE network. On top of this, there was also a big sign reading Lois Rules, which I am reliably informed has something to do with Tony Schiavone's podcast, which is also co-hosted by Conrad. Either way, shout outs to those guys in the crowd. Now let's talk about this women's gauntlet for a moment. It was okay, I guess. It certainly wasn't bad, but it was nowhere near on the same level as that epic men's gauntlet we saw a couple of months ago. Now, this wasn't the performers' fault, but the bookers, as these 7 wrestlers were given just 21 minutes to work 6 pinfalls. Contrast this with the men, who got a whopping 147 minutes on Seth Rollins' big night a few months ago. Now, we're not saying the woman needed to go that long, but it kind of makes a whole mockery of the whole revolution thing when you only give them a tiny little fraction. Come on, WWE. Remember the first women's gauntlet match WWE held back in June 2017? Probably not, it was a little bit shit, but the format was exactly the same as last night's. That match saw a heel, Nia Jax in that case, run through 3 individual wrestlers before Sasha Banks came down for an opportunistic victory on a weakened opponent. It was the exact same last night as well, only with Ruby Riott playing the alpha heel in Nia's place. Now, it's a confusing layout in the first place because shouldn't the babyface really be the one battling the odds? Either way, the laziness is galling, and this cut and paste format just won't do. Bayley had an okay run in the Gauntlet, eliminating Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan before Ruby Riott showed up and ruined her day, but there's something going on with her performances at the moment. For lack of a better word, Bayley just looks miserable. There's no spring in her step anymore, and the smiles and hugs in her ring entrance look incredibly forced. It's almost like she's mailing it in, and it's almost like years and years of terrible booking will have a negative effect on a wrestler's morale. Who could have possibly known? Last week, Chad Gable got his ass kicked by Dolph Ziggler. This week, Chad Gable got his ass kicked by Drew McIntyre. Pay attention to this, folks, because things are happening. WWE are really playing up the 2-on-1 aspect with Gable here, which means they're almost certainly on the verge of giving him a partner. And given that Jason Jordan was apparently cleared to return a few weeks ago, perhaps we're heading towards an American Alpha reunion. Now, I know Jordan's heel run didn't exactly go to plan, but given the way that Gable has struggled on Raw, it might be for the best. We're going to talk about character inconsistencies for a moment here, because there was a couple of big ones on Raw. The first came with Nia Jax, who decided to intimidate Ronda Rousey by beating up a jobber with big move after big move after big move. Seriously, it was like watching a cat play with its food. And after that, she drew Ronda down the ring and then made fun of her appearance. Remember the feud with Alexa Bliss, during which Nia continually railed against bullies, creating a surprisingly progressive WWE narrative? Might as well throw that in the bin now. Stupid pricks. And finally, it's the big dog who wasn't there at all, which, much like Nia Jax, goes against everything his character has stood for over the past couple of months. The whole basis of Roman's character at the moment is that he's the guy who's there every single week, toiling, struggling, sweating, getting his ass kicked, while Brock Lesnar is sat at home, feet up, taking it easy, collecting a massive paycheck, and only showing up when he can be arsed. By not showing up, even for a single Raw, all of that is undone, and now Reigns is a big bloody hypocrite. Now, I like Roman a lot, actually, but with the continued beatdowns and character assassinations, this guy is looking like an almighty tool at the moment, and it's impossible to take him seriously. So there you have it. Once again, our trip through Raw's various Easter eggs, smaller details and snafus is complete. And as always, I'm keen to know what you thought, so let us know down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe too, because those things are fun. And when you've done all that, why not head over to whatculture.com for more weapons grade content. As always, I've been Andy. F***y bye.
So that was our video. Thank you for watching. Please do feel free to click on anything happening around my head, or something terrible might happen to this dog. Is that you too sweeting me, bro? Ugh. Disgusting. That's really bad.